Welcome back, Wargamers, to another Build Me an Army Worthy Of, and today it is the Serpent Horde. I have in the past done a Build Me an Army Worthy Of Harad, and that was in the last edition, so I thought I'd do an updated version. As you saw yesterday, the Survivors of Lake Town won, which served me well at the tournaments throughout 2019. I also took the Serpent Horde to a 2019 tournament, so I thought I'd carry on the trend. So let's get straight into it, and where better to start than with the hero of legend of the Serpent Horde is the Serpent Lord himself, Suladan. Now Suladan is really good in this game. He is excellent. Right, so why is he excellent? He is pretty darn cheap for his points. He only just hits the triple figures without his horse, and he has the option, an armoured horse I should say, and he has the option for a bow with poisoned arrows as well. Poison is a key feature for the Serpent Horde, as I will just quickly point out their army bonus. So they can have 50% of its warriors armed with bows, so that's already good, and Haradrim warriors and raiders may apply the poison weapon special rule to all their weapons. So normally, like with Suladan's bow with poisoned arrows, the warriors are the same. They'd have just the bow with the poison arrows, but that would apply to their close combat wargear as well, which is pretty damn cool. So they'll be re-rolling ones all over the shop. Anyway, back to Suladan. So he is a hero of legend, so he can lead 18, which is awesome. Especially when we get into it, the Haradrim warriors are pretty cheap, so you can really bulk out quite a large force. He is fight 5, so that's okay. 4+ shoot, strength 4, defense 5. That's his weak spot, I guess. But 3 attacks, 3 wounds, and courage 5 is good for a man hero of his points value as well. And might 3, will 3, and 1 fate because he dies in the books. He has armour and a sword, and the Serpent Banner. Now this is why he is absolutely incredible for his points, because the Serpent Banner not only physically is a banner, not just counts as a banner, physically is a banner. He doesn't suffer the -1 for it either in combat, which is good because obviously it's just deployed on his back. It also has 6-inch range, so why would you not include that in your army? So that means you're not spending another 25 points on a banner that could just get shot out. Yes, you can position it well and pass on and all the rest of it, and obviously his you can't pass on, but don't let him die. It's a simple answer. A 6-inch banner as well, which means it's just brilliant. It's a very long way, and when you get him in the middle of the army, he's very scary, and obviously that works on himself as well. So he's 4 attacks when he charges, gets another one to re-roll as well, and it's absolutely insane. And he too has a poison sword, which means that he re-rolls ones. So he's re-rolling wounds as well. So not only has he got 5 dice to win the fight, he's re-rolling ones to wound as well. Double that with a knockdown is pretty damn tasty. He has Heroic Resolve, Heroic March, Heroic Strike, and Heroic Challenge. So Strike is really good, Resolve is handy, never used it myself, March is there if you do so need it, very rare for a named hero to have it, and Challenge is always fun. I've used it like once in a friendly game. Could be might needed, who knows. So that is Suladan for now, and I will always pick him, especially if I'm at 500 points plus. He will definitely be in there. I will now move on to, I've got the book next to me, the next main staple in a Serpent Horde force, who's also in the Mordor force, and that is the Betrayer. There he is, and he is pretty darn key to how I play the Serpent Horde anyway. So this is how I built my tournament army for one. Took them last year actually, 2018 in Woking at 500 points, and also took them at 700 points this year in Bexhill in the summer. Put the tray back out in front. So this is how I built it for that. I probably will do another video in the future about all the other options Serpent Horde can have, but this will be specifically what I've taken and why. So the Betrayer is mostly in there because, well, one, he's a wraith, so he's already scary. It already makes your opponent play differently because there's magic there. It's just that threat of a magic user, basically, which can nullify your opponent's big hero, meaning this guy's fight 5 doesn't matter so much, that is quite low. So Suladan has a better chance of taking on the bigger stuff if he got the Betrayer as backup. But his main reason is his 6-inch bubble. He never used to have to, but in the new edition he had to spend a point of will to use it, like all the named wraiths. He allows everyone who has a poisoned weapon to not only reroll 1s, but reroll all failed to wound rolls. Re-enter Suladan with his poison sword. So suddenly Suladan has, 8 attacks on the knockdown, re-rolling all failed to wound rolls. He's going to kill the thing he's charging, and that is brilliant against heroes, especially those sturdy ones that have a high defense you need 6s for. Means you've got a much better chance of getting through that. So the Betrayer would also affect, because of the army special rule, where the warriors over here and the raiders at the back would normally only reroll 1s. They now reroll everything, and that's shooting and close combat. So you now immediately have a versatile army that's either very good at shooting because of the 50% bows, or if you do get into combat, you got the 6-inch banner and all the rerolls on top of that as well, which is absolutely insane. So why would you not take these two? So these are the first two that will go into my army. Side note, the Betrayer isn't the best caster out of all the wraiths, but he still has access to all the good spells. So they're there if you do so need them. There are a few games at the tournament I went to where I didn't even spend any of his will on magic, just because I used him as something to help me position my opponent more. So I moved the Betrayer up with, like, to be threatening to potentially cast magic. The opponent will react to that, and I can make them move in a certain way that obviously they don't want to, and sort of dictate the game a bit better that way. So next up in the books I'm looking is, I did notice that he came in far earlier, so I'll be careful with him, the Golden King. Now this is another option. Whether I take him with Suladan and the Betrayer, I highly doubt it, unless it was like 1,000 points or maybe 800. But I am yet to use him in this edition, but he's very, very, very cool. He also has a banner attached to him, which is nice. It also counts literally as a banner, or it is a banner, not counts as. Doesn't, given the -1, it is only a 3-inch banner, as opposed to Suladan's 6 inches. That's why Suladan's is a bit better. The Golden King is more expensive. He's fight 4, defense 4, defense 5, 4 attacks, which is pretty darn cool. 4 wounds, courage 4, might 2, 6 will and 2 fates. So he's got a lot going on in there. His 4 attacks and strength 4 with Burly is pretty darn tasty. But it's all about his special rule, which is whenever an enemy hero takes a courage test, you can reduce its courage value by 1 for each will point you spend. So he has 6 will points. So that's very good. So basically he's paying them off. It's called Riches Beyond Renown. So basically he's paying off these heroes just to leave, which I've used against Galadriel before in last edition, which was really, really funny. But buddy that up. So if I was taking Golden King, I probably wouldn't take Suladan, but I probably would still take the Betrayer, because Drain Courage on a 2+. Early doors, heroes probably aren't going to be trying to resist that, because they'll be more worried about the transfixes and all that sort of thing. But they'll start to realise at what point do they need to start resisting Drain Courages. So what's an average courage of a hero? 5, 6, I guess. Elven heroes 7, but yeah, about 5, 6. A couple of those knock them down with the -1 Harbinger as well. And then towards the end game, when you've broken your opponent, the leader's now on what, courage 3, down to 2 because of the Betrayer. Little courage test, minus it by 6. Yeah, that hero's gone. You don't have to worry about him. Or if anything, you're just draining the will out with the courage, with the drain courage, because they're worried about what the Golden King to do, and then he's completely open to transfixes, which the Golden King with his +1 to wound 4 attacks, can go in and do some real damage himself. So that is a pretty little handy tactic, which I will use in the future. Alas, I have not yet. Another handy little character is this guy, the Hasharan. He is pretty damn cool. So he is well under 100 points. He's pretty cheap. He's a hero of fortitude, so he can lead your standard 12. I should also point out that the Betrayer is a hero of valor, so he can lead 15, and the Golden King is also a hero of valor, so he can lead 15. So there's plenty of heroes already. There's 3 heroes already who can lead 48 troops between them. So the Hasharan has Fight 5, Strength 4, Defense 4, so quite low in defense. 3 attacks, which is nice killy power. 2 wounds, Courage 4. However, only 1 might and 1 will, but he does have 3 fate, so that makes up for the Defense 4. He's survivable. Can be, and also he can't be tracked while he's standing up, so that's also pretty good. He can reroll all of his strikes because he is a assassin. He has the Bane of Kings, so he doesn't need the Betrayer around. But I think his defense is slightly too low, and his lack of might just about means I leave him out over this new guy you've probably seen, Raz Al Ghul. No, it's not Raz Al Ghul. It's Raza, Fang of the Serpent. Now he is really cool. He is Suladan's bodyguard. He is bodyguard to Suladan, literally in the rules of the game as well. So he passes his courage test while Suladan is on the board. He's Fight 4, which is a shame because it's 1 lower than Hasharan, but he can do something about that. Strength 4, Defense 5, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, and he has 3/1/1 in terms of Might, Will and Fate. So, named Captain profile, that gets your Might popped up because, as I previously mentioned, the Betrayer only has 2 Might, Golden King only has 2 Might, yes, Suladan has 3, but there's a lot of expensive heroes in there who don't have 3, and that just tips you up a bit. Raza is a little bit cheaper than the Hasharan. He also has the Bane of Kings. He has a spear as well, if you did want to use that. But his cool little special rule is you secretly nominate an enemy hero at the beginning of the game. If Raza is ever in combat with that hero, he improves his fight value by 2. So he goes to fight 6, on top of his Heroic Strike and Heroic Challenge. Heroic Strike especially is really cool. So I used it at the tournament, the Bexhill one, where I'd pick the enemy leader. So who did I face? He only came into combat with, so out of the 3 games, came into combat with the enemy leader in 2 of them. One of them was against Gandalf, so it made a difference because he's Fight 5, so it took me from Fight 4 to Fight 6, taking me over, and he did help me take him down in combination with Suladan's, all the rerolls and what have you. And the other one was against Dane, so it took me up to tie him, so I used him to basically siphon Dane's stats, get up to Fight 6, use the Heroic Strike and whatever, with Raza. It was a long time ago, so I'm struggling to remember. He probably died to Dane eventually, but it did take a lot of his stats away, leaving Suladan and another model, which I'll get to in a minute, to take down Dane relatively easily in the end, just because he's there to be a pain in the ass to the hero, which is what Suladan sent him off to do. So I would rather as a strong contender for me. Another contender is simply because of his fight value, I guess, and the additional strength and wounding is, I haven't got him painted yet, but I really want to get him used, is the Haradrim King. He's the Fight 5. So when you tool him all up with the horse, with a bow with poisoned arrows and a war spear, he's the same points as Raza, or maybe like 5 more. So Fight 5, Hero Fortitude again, Strength 4, Defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 5, 2 Might, 2 Will, which could be handy, and 1 Fate. He has the March as well, and he has Heroic Strength, could be nice. But the War Spear, especially on the charge, yeah, pretty damn lethal. So maybe based on that, I'd take the Haradrim King. But I'm always more inclined to take named heroes. They're cooler. And he has a nice special rule which you can definitely make use of. Anyway, and another hero that I have in front of me here is the Haradrim Chieftain, who Where's the foot guy? There he is. Random chief. He's basically he's just a captain. He's a captain, cheap, gets you some extra dudes in, no messing around. He also can have a horse as well, and he comes automatically with a war spear, so I've converted one up here, given them the one with the eagle head, and a bow with poison spears, so again, the nice knockdown, the +1 to wound with the war spear is essentially a lance. You get to keep it when you're dismounted as well. Obviously don't get the +1, but it still counts as a spear, which is handy, or can be handy. But it's the fight 4 again that sort of lets you down this army. There's no real fight 6 dudes, unless Raz in combat with one particular guy, which means you can bounce off elite forces of fight 4. But there is something you can do about that, which I did at the tournament in Bexhill. Now this model's a little bit smaller than I'd hoped it would be, because it is a stand-in. I don't want to say proxy as such, but I'll show you what I mean. So the Serpent Horde has access to ally with Mordor, which is nice, and they're green allies with Mordor, and they have a vast array of options to mix with it. So if you're missing some defense 6, get some Morannons in there. If you're missing some strength 4, again Morannons I suppose. But yeah, there's obviously, and monsters as well, which is what I'm coming on to now. So, because I don't have a Mummock, you may have seen just in front of me. Here there is no Mummock, notably. One day I will get one, but they are they're okay for what you get, like price wise, but they are still, you know, 60 quid, which I don't have right now, and also a lot of points in the game and very difficult to use. I know a couple of people who do have success with them, but they are quite easily shut down if you get unlucky, so that is why I allied in this. You're probably looking at this going, what the bloody hell is that? Well, I use this as Shelob. I will quickly mention that this was a relatively casual tournament. Definitely wasn't a 100-point GVHL event, super competitive, everyone out to kill each other kind of thing. So, like I mentioned before, it came slightly smaller than I was hoping after I'd already submitted my list. So I added some extra bits to make it look more Haradi and fill out the base. So there's a dead guy there, a guy trying to control the serpent, and the little banner witty thing on the back there. So that is a Dungeons and Dragons snake, which I thought went really cool with the theme, because I have obviously the army is the Serpent Horde, got Suladan the Serpent Lord, Raza the Fang of the Serpent, and then you got the Serpent who can take the Royal Shelob, who's a green ally. And there's nothing stopping you just taking actual Shelob, because like I say, she's a green ally. It'll still look cool, and it'll still fill in that void of the big killy monster thing, because she is fight 7, strength 7, defense 7, 1 attack, 6 wounds, courage 4, no might though, 6 will, and no fate. I've got the book here to the side, but I'm not going to flick through. So no might can be a pain, but it's her ability to charge. Yes, she only has 1 attack, but when she charges, gets +1, knock down 4 attacks. She can reroll all of those dice. So with strength 7, she's pretty darn powerful. She's also really scary for the opponent as well, and can obviously go over. It's her it's name of the special rule. So she can go over buildings and over terrain without penalty. She can just get places quickly, including dig out prizes and get to objectives and stuff like that. So definitely recommending using the Green Allegiance with this army, because there's some things that it lacks at, which I'll get to with the Warriors, that Mordor can definitely help with. So yeah, we'll get on to the troops. That's the heroes that I would definitely take. First off, Suladan, hero of legend, those extra troops. He'd be in there. Betrayer is probably my absolute first choice, and then move on to the others, I reckon. So they're 2 priority. So let's flick through to the Warriors. Oh, I will also just point out another hero who I've not put together yet, is the Taskmaster. Everyone knows what a Taskmaster does. Potentially give you free might. Maybe could be handy. Like I said before, with the other named heroes who only have 2 between them, if you ally on someone like Shelob who has none, could be handy getting an extra free might, but I haven't used him as such. But that is an option there for hand. So onto the troops. So we have the basic warrior here. So they can either come with Well, you can give them a warhorn, you can give them a banner, but if you've got Siladan, I probably wouldn't bother unless you're going at very high points and you want a bit of extra coverage. But their basic war gear is bow with poisoned arrows, like this fella has, or with a spear. So you'd have your standard battle ranks, but you put the bows in front, spears in behind. There you go. Shoot, shoot, shoot. You got 50% bows. Shoot, 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 and all the time your opponent's coming towards you. Then when the lines hit, you got a nice 2 in front, or 1 in front, 1 behind, and then a big hero with a banner there as well, giving them 3 attacks to win a fight. And then re-rolling in combat as well. So that is already damn powerful. Their weakness, fight 3, also defense 4. That is the weakness. Can't do anything about the defense 4, but it can do something about the fight value. And you've probably already seen these guys here. These fellas. The Serpent Guard. Now I think that was the difference at the tournament I went to in Woking, because I finished 4th at that tournament out of... It's between 16 and 20. I went to Woking a couple of times. One of them had like 16, 17, the other one had 20. I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, I finished about 4th, which wasn't too bad. And the difference was, I think, the fight value in the fights. You're suddenly winning a hell of a lot more and drawing with elite armies for these relatively cheap Serpent Guard. So the Serpent Guard are exactly the same stats as the Warriors, except they have +1 fight value. And they come with a poison spear as standard. So they get to re-roll all the goodness in range of the Betrayer as well. So that is really nice. That just, yeah, like I say, just tips the scales for me. And then you can also have them. So I took to Woking again before I had the Serpent Guard. I took just basic Serpent Raiders, which are cool because they have the War Spear. So the +1 to wound, but again it's the fight 3. The fight 3 is really irritating. Sometimes you can just bounce off stuff. So why would you not just upgrade them to Serpent Guard? The Serpent Guard are better in every single way, including like model quality, and just because the models are metal, and if you know me at all, then I love metal models. I just love lifting weighty, elite, cool stuff around the table. Yeah, the fight 4, again you get a poisoned War Spear. So it's +1 to wound, re-rolling all of it if you're within range of the Betrayer. If you're not, you still get to re-roll 1s as standard, and they are pretty darn deadly. They just don't bounce off stuff as much, which is really nice. And finally, if you wanted that bit more reliability and winning the dual rolls, watch Sakana. Boo, hiss, boo. These were very unpopular in the last edition just because they were so damn powerful, so versatile. They could have 2 attacks and shoot on a 3+ and everything. Whereas now you have to choose between the 2. Either the Twin Blades for an extra attack, or bow with poison arrows. The bow's a good option because they hit on 3s. These standard guys hit on 4s, which is still okay if you've got 50% bows, and say like 30-40 dudes, you've got 15 to 20 bows, half of them hitting, all re-rolling failed to win rolls. It's pretty damn powerful. 3s to hit on these guys, that's even better. But obviously they are quite a bit more expensive. So I used them with the 2 attacks, so they could basically either chop through the middle a little bit better, hold on to something by themselves a bit better, or just stand on the flank, stand there with the 2 attacks, potentially with 1 re-roll, and just look after themselves really. Again, they're low defense, they're defense 3, these guys. So they're going to die if they lose the fight. But the key thing for them was standing in the way of magic, because they're resistant magic. So it put people off. And the other thing was their Steely Nerve. They get +2 to their courage test for charging terror-causing models. So you pretty much use them just to pin down a monster. And with the 2 attacks, they might have a decent chance of beating it, who knows. So yeah, they are good for that, just for stopping the scary stuff, literally. And then the final troop that I'd include and have included is just for that little bit extra punch. Is the Fat Boys, the African Guard. Now they are pretty cool. Again, nice metal models. Put them down the side here. They are fight 4, very nice. Strength 4, that's where the extra bit of punch comes in. Defense 4, so fairly standard theme here for the army. 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 3. They come with a 2-handed sword, so strength 4 plus 1 to wound. They are burly, so they don't get the negative either, so they can chop through stuff nicely. So when you come up against that defense 7 shield wall, that these guys obviously, although they get their rerolls, they're still needing 6s to wound. These guys suddenly only need 5s. Strength 4, defense 7 is 6s plus 1 5s, yeah. And against defense 6 stuff, which these guys still need 6s, these guys only need 4s, so they can really just punch through that centre mass. So I'd probably take 5 or 6 of these guys. The Watch the Khan, I'd probably take about 3 of them with the 2 attacks. Yeah, 5 or 6 African Guard, 3 or so of these. I'd take usually a standard 10 of the Haradrim Warriors with bow, and then probably a full warband, 10 to 12 of the Serpent Guard on foot, 4 or so of the Serpent Riders, and that is pretty much the base of the army. And then whatever heroes you want to work around that, like I say, Betrayer first, Suladan, Razar's definitely in there, and plenty of other options with the King, the Chieftain, the Taskmaster, the Golden King, and then anywhere you want to ally with Mordor, in which you have hundreds of options, start including like Gothmog and the Orcs have like a Pelennor army. So yeah, very, very cool. Very, very nice, well-rounded, but very cool because it's a obvious weakness for Harad in that they don't have a Fight 6 hero and they have low defense. But their damage output is insane, whether it's by shooting or close combat, and there's just a lot going on. You've got spellcasters, quite big heroes, banners, fight 4, rerolls, cool special rules, cavalry. You know, it's got all that stuff, and it's so versatile and really, really fun. So highly recommend playing this army. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow will be Angmar, which I've taken to a few different tournaments, so I'd like to go over that one with you. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe, hit the subscription button up the top here, and watch the other videos down the bottom here as well. So, thank you very much.